Hey guys, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2012 comedy Bachelorette. Now you're probably wondering, why am I diving back 6 years to talk about a movie when I've been talking about recent movies? Well, to be completely honest, the next movie I am going to see is Avengers Infinity War, and I haven't seen anything new that I've wanted to see since I Feel Pretty, so I kind of have to fill in the gaps, right? Talk about other films. So I had an idea today at work, and I was like, this is my work clothes, by the way. I was like, you know what? Why don't I talk about films that I absolutely love, right? Not hate, love. And what are my favorite movies? So it occurred to me, what's your favorite movie is a very broad question, right? Because it's hard. There's so many movies out there. So when I always ask someone and I rephrase it, I say, what's the movie that you can watch repeatedly and never get sick of? And I have a few of those movies. I don't know why these particular movies fit in that category, but this is one of them. 2012's Bachelorette, which is only an hour and 27 minutes long. Stars a whole crap ton of people, and for some reason it was not a box office success. It premiered at South by Southwest, I think, back in like 2012, and it just didn't take off as it should have. This film is so hilariously perfect. I'm just gonna go down the list of people that are in it: Rebel Wilson, James Marsden, Kirsten Dunst, Isla Fisher, Lizzie Kaplan, the guy who was in Book of Mormon, and I can't remember his name, and he was on that TV show for a while, and so many people. It's a great ensemble cast, and this film is like perfect on quotes. And every time I watch it, the last 6 years of watching it, I have never once been bored. I've never once had to like play a video game while watching it, or like fiddle on my phone while watching it, which probably has happened because I have their movie, memorized by now. But it's so funny. So for those of you who don't know anything about the film, I'm actually going to put a link to the trailer down below, because you probably have never heard of this. It was this little comedy, like I said, that premiered at South by Southwest back in 2012. Barely had a theatrical debut. Didn't do anything massive or impressive at the box office. And I don't understand why, because it's one of the greatest films. It's so perfectly well done. I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. So, for instance, there's one particular scene. I'll go through the plot, actually, because most of you watching probably don't even know what this movie is. So, Rebel Wilson's character is getting engaged. Well, she is engaged. So, she has all of her bachelorettes, right? So, Kirsten Dunst is the maid of honor, and then you have Lizzie Kaplan from Mean Girls and Cloverfield, and she was on that TV show for a while, and she's done a bunch of stuff. She's a bachelorette. Isla Fisher, she's been in so many films, and I actually need to talk about Confessions of a Shopaholic, which is one of those movies that I can watch repeatedly for some reason and never get tired of, because it's just so perfectly well done and hilarious, and I actually use the quotes from that movie all the time. Same with this one. She's also married to Sacha Baron Cohen. Borat, as everyone knows, they have 2 beautiful children, I believe, or 3 beautiful children. I don't remember how many beautiful children that both of them have. Congrats to both of them. Anyway, so Lizzie, Isla, and Kirsten are bachelorettes for Rebel Wilson's character's wedding. So it's a matter of planning the bridal parties and planning the rehearsal dinner and planning the wedding and all that stuff. So it's typical bridesmaids' duties, right? And then all hell breaks loose, because then the bachelorette party gets mixed up with the bachelor party, and like who's at the strip club when, and what happens to Rebel Wilson's dress when Isla and Lizzie Kaplan try to dance in it and it splits. So then they're on a frantic rampage across Manhattan at 3 o'clock in the morning to try to track down the woman who sold the dress to get a new dress. But then Reagan doesn't want Reagan, as in Kirsten Dunst's character, doesn't want Becky, Rebel Wilson's character, to have this one particular dress, because it's always been Reagan's dream to have this dress, and she can't have that dress, and it's this whole girl versus girl fight kind of thing, and Isla Fisher is just this coked out, crazy, desperate for attention, extremely suicidal individual, and then it's addressed, and she gets blood on the dress, and they're all freaking out, and they have to go to, there's like a cleaning service in the basement of this hotel, and it's not a laundromat, and the sassy black woman gives them all this crap for it, and it's just so perfect, and they have to track down, oh, what's his face? Oh God, I'm forgetting his name. He played Ben Wyatt in Parks and Rec. Adam Scott, there you go. Adam Scott is Lizzie Kaplan's ex-love interest, and there's this whole drama with them, but it's like poetic, and like it's like this whole like get together thing at the end, and it's just, this movie, it just bounces around the entire city of Manhattan plus Brooklyn or Queens or something like that, and it's just boom, 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 boom. There's never a dull moment. It's just so fast paced and so hilarious. James Marsden and Kirsten Dunst having sex in the men's room of a strip club is hilarious. Lizzie Kaplan venting out her soul about how awful guys are to a stripper in the back of the strip club while they're just washing their hands. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. And one thing I noticed though is that anytime like I'm like with friends or like we're hanging out or whatever, I'm like, we have to get somewhere, I'm like, yo, we G to G, we good to go? Right? G to G. That's like the texting lingo, G to G, good to go, right? So James Marsden and Kirsten Dunst go G to G all the time. Yo, we G to G, yo, we G to G, yo, we good to go. But for some reason, every time I say good to go, I have to do this, good to go. It's not actual sign language. This actually comes from, for all you millennials out there, Disney Channel had Mike's Super Short Show, right? Starring Allison Stoner and Mike, whose last name I can never remember. But the two kids would review the newest Disney DVDs, and then they would sing Mike's Super Short Show, and they would do this hand gesture. So for some reason, when I was a kid, I always would go, good to go. Mike's Super Short Show, good to go. And it worked. So anytime I watch this movie now, anytime they say G to G, I always do this. Just naturally, G to G. Hilarious. Oh my God, so many things about this film are perfect. One thing I love to say, now I'm a very particular individual, right? I hate almost every single person I meet automatically because people are awful. But the people that I am close with, the people that I do associate with, I have extremely high standards who I associate with, who I speak with, who I hang out with, who I like, who I want to date. I have very high standards. Why? I couldn't tell you, but I feel like it's more of a why waste my time if something better is out there kind of a thing. So like me crushing on someone currently, right? It's just, you know, this zinging feeling and the warmth in your chest, and you just, you know, feel so safe when you're with them and such. Point being is that, you know, the more you watch this movie, the more you see these kinds of characters have these moments and have these kinds of, closeness kind of a thing. Well, I know I just did a full roundabout of where I was going from with why I actually hate certain people, but it's important because there's a line in this movie that I use all the time. When someone like says something, I just don't want to like listen to them, or like if they ask me if I want to do something and I just don't like the person and I just don't want to hang out with them because I don't like the person, they'll ask, hey, do you want to go to the movies or whatever? And if I don't like the person, I'll make up an excuse and I'll say, like, no, like my go-to excuse is always, oh, I have this hot date with with someone, and they'll go, oh, what's his name? And I'll be like, oh, his name's Pillow. And then they'll be like, oh, where are you going? And I'm like, oh, we're going to Club Bed featuring DJ Blanket. And it's stupid because I'm referencing I'd rather go to sleep than go hang out with this person because they're just trash. So I would make up an excuse in a sarcastic, whimsical way. But the line in this movie that I use all the time is what Kirsten Dunst says. Now, Kirsten Dunst, Isla Fisher, and Lizzie Kaplan are arguing because Kirsten Dunst as Reagan refused to allow the dressmaker to sell them the dress that Reagan wanted for herself, not for Becky/Rebel Wilson to use. So then Lizzie Kaplan's like, why? Why couldn't we just get this dress? The night would be over. So then Reagan freaks out. She's like, no! Becky can't have that dress. That's my dress. I'd rather lick this sidewalk than watch her walk down an aisle in that dress. So then Lizzie Kaplan's like, fine, lick the sidewalk then. So then Reagan's like, fine, I will. And then Isla Fisher is coked out of her mind. And she's like, I'm going to lick it too. So then just Reagan going, I'd rather lick this sidewalk it's just the funniest thing. And she gets on her hands and knees on the streets of Manhattan, and she's about to lick the sidewalk when something happens. But that's what I say to some people too. They're like, hey, do you want to do this? For the rare moments, maybe once a month I'm actually invited somewhere. Maybe, if that. I'm the one who always has to invite someone to do something, or else I'll never see anyone. Maybe once a month, maybe, I will actually be invited to do something. But, like I said, if I don't actually like the person, I'm not going to go waste my time. So, if I don't want to do something, I'll literally verbally say, I'd rather lick the sidewalk. And it's funny because 9 times out of 10, these people don't know what the hell I'm referencing. And I love that. I love that I have that upper hand knowing that I'm quoting one of the greatest underrated comedies in the history of cinematography. And they have no clue. No clue what I'm talking about. It's great. Sometimes I can be the douchiest of douches. Sometimes you gotta be that way. You can't all be smiles and happy. You can't let people walk over you. You gotta stand your ground and you gotta say, the hell with you. I'm doing me. I'm gonna be me. But it's, yeah. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I originally watched this movie on Netflix. And I'm pretty sure it's still there, but you're gonna have to literally search for it. If they took it off, I apologize. But like I said, I am gonna put the trailer down below so you guys can actually, like, see like what I'm actually talking about, why I'm so like, this movie's amazing kind of a thing. Yeah, so Bachelorette, 2012's Bachelorette, an hour and 27 minutes long, one of the greatest films ever made, ever, never a dull moment. It had heart, it had drama, it has comedy, it has perfect quotes. Whoever wrote it and whoever directed it, I commend you wholeheartedly, and I would love to work with you because you know your material. You know what to do. Amazing. So for that, I give 2012's Bachelorette a solid 10 out of 10 bolts. Well worth the extenuated length of this video. Let's just ruminate on how passionate I have been about talking to you about this film because this film is awesome. Mucho mahalo.